guys. I think everyone here knows who Ray is, former GM of the Browns. Played in the league, played at Duke, graduate of Duke. When I reached out to Mike Hagan to see if maybe we could make something happen, Mike's like, oh, he's a great guy. He's really, he's going to be perfect. And I said, yeah, I think you're probably right. But then as I've gotten to know Ray, boy, he really is perfect for this kind of forum. He knocked it out of the park working with a couple of groups in South Florida doing combine prep. I mean, people raved about him because he's honest and doesn't pull any punches, and he's very insightful, very thoughtful, and he's got a lot to say about a lot of different things. So we gave him 10 questions, similar to what Phil had last year, but not exactly the same. And I think, and these are the questions that I mostly get from you guys, so hopefully y'all get a lot out of this. When he's done, we'll have a brief Q&A as well. I really want everyone to leave here having all their questions answered. So please give it up for Ray.
Such an illustrious introduction for just a normal guy. So I guess I'll start by saying this is what it's about. It's about passing on knowledge and being able to communicate with people. That's the business we're in. Like, as an agent, if you can't communicate with your player, you won't have a player. Somebody else that he's talking to is going to take him from you. So it's all communication. It's all interaction with people. So this is really what I enjoy doing is talking to people and hopefully passing on something that I've learned in the last 25 years of my life. So, Neil did give me a lot of questions to answer, and so I'll be candid. I'm better as I talk. If something hits you, I'll answer your question in the middle of the conversation as I talk through things. So there's a lot in my mind that I guess I have that I've experienced. Like you said, played ball at Duke, played in the league, got out, bad back, bad knee. What do you do with your life? Where do you go? So you turn back the ball. So for me, like, this part is fun. Like, I don't know what everybody else does for fun, but I watch football. Like, when I get a day off, I watch football. When I get time away and my wife's not bothering me, I watch football. So it's what I do. So much so that I have my daughter watching football. So pretty simple. First question Neil asked me was, what's the best method of sending game tape? Me personally, and I'm going to side with you so much. Look, the 45 million tapes that I get on a weekly basis, I do not watch them all. No GM on the planet is going to watch all the films that they get on a weekly or a daily basis. So it's a process, right? Everything's a process. So who gets it first? The intern. He's going to pick up the mail, he's going to bring it up. If it's worth watching, you watch it first. The intern likes it, he passes it on to the pro scout. Pro scout likes it, gives it to the pro director. Pro director likes it, he gives it to me. If they don't like it, I hope to God I don't see it. If they bring something to my desk that I don't like, I'm going to start questioning, okay, what were you doing? Did you actually watch this tape? Did you see what was on here? And you're right. What do guys do? They speed it up and pretend like nothing ever happened. The highlight tapes, not worth it. Game tape. That's it. Just put the game on. I don't need to know that he made these 5 tackles. It is, I guess I will say this, it's very helpful when you can't read the numbers on a jersey that you point to the guy that's him. The reality behind that, though, he made a great point earlier, I don't know if that's the kid that you're telling me about. I don't know. So I hate to say it, in a large respect, unless I can prove that's the guy that I'm looking for, it's hard to just go off of, hey, this is the guy, this is him. So there has to be a still shot, there has to be a moment where you can see that jersey when the kid's getting up off the pile, and you say, okay, that is number 19. That's not 18, that's not 16, it's not 13, it's 18. And whatever number we're looking for, you gotta know that that's the kid. Because if you don't, everybody's wasting their time. The reality behind our business is that it's all about finding guys that can play. And the reality for you is that you all want players that can play. And everybody believes in their player, right? So you wouldn't have signed a kid if you didn't believe in him. So the reality is that you believe in this kid. The question then becomes is, can he actually do it at our level? Can he perform? And it's not perform when optimal conditions and it's 75 and the sun's out and it's AstroTurf and I got my right cleats and I'm feeling great. It's when the weather sucks, it's raining outside, you didn't sleep well, you got you on a 5 a.m. flight, you got in, you went to a physical, they tugged and pulled on you because you had a knee surgery 17 years ago. Like, now you gotta go perform. And you haven't eaten, you haven't slept. Then can he go out and can he run 4.4? Then can he catch the ball? Then can he remember that I told him to run out and go 12 yards and then roll to 14? Like, if he can't operate under those kind of stresses and conditions, he's not gonna make it. He's just flat not gonna make it. The reality from our side is that I want that kid, and I'll watch tape. I was in that process when I was in Atlanta. When I first got started in this business, I was the guy picking up the tape, watching it, and quality controlling it, and saying, hey, look, we need to bring this kid in here. And David, he'll vouch for it. That's the reality. That's the business. But if your guy can't play, at a certain point, I hate to tell y'all this, everybody's not built for it. At some point, you got to cut him loose. That's the reality. So if you want to send game tape, send it. But here's what I'll tell you. You're better off, I hate to say this, but trying to manipulate a relationship and figure out, how do I communicate with you? Everybody does it differently. I'm a techno nerd. So guess what? Send me a YouTube clip, and I want to see a recent workout, and don't edit it. If it's an hour and 20 minutes, let it run. Just keep filming. Because I want to see when he's over there and he's breathing hard and heavy, I don't want to just see the 15 seconds that he ran over the bags. I want to see that it took him 17 minutes to get ready to run over the bags again. Because I'm not going to waste my time. When I walk out of my office and I walk down to that field, he's got about 10 minutes to make an impression before I'm going to be like, okay, thanks, man. Let's close this up. Let's go. And if you have the relationship, you'll bring a kid in, right? So different than the CFL. I fly kids in all the time. 5, 6, 10, 15, however many I need to fly in a week, they come. You get them to your facility, you send them to the doctor, you may feed them, you may not feed them, depending upon what time the coach has. If he doesn't eat, you gotta suck down this power bar, drink a Gatorade, and get ready to go. He's on the field, and at that point, it's time to perform. No more talking about it, no more, my agent said such and such. Nope, let's see what you got. And if it doesn't show up on that field, live and in person, he will get back on the plane, he will make his way back home, and we won't call him again. That's it. And then when the next team calls and says, hey, didn't you work out so-and-so? Yeah, I worked him out. Silence. Because my mom said, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. So I'm not going to bash your client. And if it's somebody that I really know, look, man, the kid wasn't in shape. What do you mean he wasn't in shape? We did 7 drills. He fell out after drill 3. We drug him through the last 4, and then we sent him home. That's the reality of it. Again, game tapes is really where it's at. Use technology. Like I said, I was telling those stories to get to this point. I'm an email guy. You can put it in a YouTube clip. You can send a video clip through an email, a text message, a phone. However I get it, I'm good with it. If I got a relationship with you, you have to learn who those people are and how guys operate. Learn who the connector is. A lot of times it's the pro director. If your guy's on the street and he don't have a gig and you're trying to get him a gig, get to know the pro director. That's the guy that's going to be your clearinghouse. If you don't know every pro director in the league, shame on you. You should know them all, like speed dial, pick it up, call them, get them, and have them in a Rolodex to where you can operate in their circumstance. I got to the point where I'm at because I knew all those guys. I knew them. And I knew if there was a question about a kid in the CFL, there's a question about a kid that's on the street, and I know that somebody else had a connector to the kid, I'm gonna call that guy and ask him. That's just the way the business works. Let the tape run as long as it is. Like I said, the longer, I don't say the longer the better, but if you put a kid through a grueling workout and it's 5 minutes, I'll probably watch that whole workout. I will. The reality is, keep it to what he does. Like, I've seen defensive linemen catching balls. I've seen guys, it's like, I don't care if you can catch. That's not what you get paid to do. Like, let's get some bags out. Let's see this guy use his strength. Get 2 guys in a workout, have a guy push on him. Like, Dave made a good point. It's about the physicality of the game. Like, there's a football specific part. You get paid to play football. I hear all the time, I got this kid, man, 6'7", 345 pounds, ran 4.6. Even if he could, that don't mean he can play football. It doesn't matter if he can't perform the game. Focus on the game. Like, I don't know how you guys find the kids that you find. There's some of you guys that are really good at it. There's certain agents that if he calls me and says, hey, look, I got an undrafted free agent, tell me his name. Please tell me his name. Because his guys play in the league. even though they don't get drafted, even though they're not highly sought after, and nobody else is chasing them, they dig them up. If you become a guy with a reputation that digs people up, you will get attention. Teams will notice. So it's not about making sure you get your first rounder, or you get 10 guys that were drafted or a 7th rounder. It's about digging up guys that can play. Because guess what? 1/3 of the league that I was formerly a part of, they're college free agents. 1/3 of the National Football League is college free agents. So guess what? The NFL has not figured out how to draft the right people, how to bring the right people in. They find them just however they get them. They got to dig them up, find them. Somebody calls, whatever you get them, you want to get them. I said this earlier, I spent a lot of my career on the pro side. And one of the questions that Neil brought up as well was, how do we evaluate street free agents? It's a combination of things. If your kid played at a major college, I have the tape, don't send it. If he went to Auburn, he went to Kentucky, he went to Duke, Louisville, he went anywhere, don't send it. If your kid went to Robert Morris, I might need tape. There's certain schools that they don't have the budgets, or they don't take the time, they don't care. D3, D2 schools, not as readily consistent. D1 schools, don't worry about it, I got it. I can open up that iPad right now in my bag and just start watching any game I want to watch. Smaller schools, yes, please take the time to try to get the tape. And before you waste your time, before you waste the time of somebody else, make sure you have the tape. Don't call me and say, look, I got a kid and he can play. Let me call the coach, see if I can get the tape. Get the tape. Get the tape first. Know before you start making the calls that you can send the tape immediately. Because what will happen, somebody else will call while you're looking for the tape, and I'll sign his guy. Or I'll watch his tape, and then I'm not even interested in watching the tape that you send. So it's a process. There's only so many spots. When you get your slots filled, I'm on to the next thing. You're grading guys, you're watching guys, you're always trying to find the next piece, but inevitably there's just so many names. Like there's so many names every single year. And I promise you this, when Scott Pioli came to Kansas City in 2009, January 2009, I was the only guy in that pro department for almost 2 years. You will die. You will die trying to watch every single player on the street. You will not make it. There's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough time for you to watch 3, 4 full solid games on a kid, write a report, understand who he is, know that you know it, and be convicted by it, and then turn around and there's just not time. There's no team that fields enough people, that has enough people in their business to watch all the tapes that everybody sends in. So you pick and choose and you select. So that's why you have a clearinghouse. That's why you have the number of people you have. Street free agents, if there's a guy on the street, he's got a college report. There's 4 years of somebody watching that kid that wrote a report on him. I'll go back and it's a clearinghouse. College guys kind of like him. All right, I'm halfway interested. What was his height, weight, and speed? Did he test anywhere? Did he do anything? If he did, great, let me see. Are they verified? Yes, they are. Okay, guy ran 4.9. He's 5'8". I'm done. I'm done. I've turned the page. But I'm gonna get to this later. Like analytics, if a guy's 6'1" and he played corner, he's 195 pounds, and ran 4.3, I'm listening. You've got me piqued. You've piqued my interest. But again, if he can't play, if I can't see the tape and see this kid making plays, you've wasted my time. And the next time you call, I promise you, you will get the voicemail. You will not get me. Here's another interesting fact. How many of you guys have relationships around the NFL? Everybody's got somebody they call, right? If you know anybody in the league and you only have their office line, you're not their friend. You're not.
Can you say it again?
If you only have a guy's office line, you're not his friend. If you call my office line, I guarantee you will not get me. Guarantee you. Let's go to voicemail. My secretary asked me 15 times, hey, your phone's ringing. I hear it. Mute. The people that really know me, hold on. Oh, what's up? Those guys know me. When you get this number, you know me. If you don't have this number, and they just give you the business card, you look at that business card, you don't have no cell phone on it, you got passed off to the side. I probably shouldn't be telling y'all that secret, but try to get this number. If you don't get this number, you're not gonna get through. If you don't get through, your guy he doesn't get viewed. That's the reality. And here's the interesting thing. You're not going to get GMs on the phone like that. Learn to love the pro director. He is your friend. He is your best friend. Learn to love the college director. He is your best friend. When the draft ends, the GM is like, whew, thank you God for getting us through this day. I think we got some guys. Hopefully some of these guys can play. All right, what are we doing now with college free agency? Like literally, you got about 15 seconds, and probably ain't even that. If I'm telling the honest to God's truth, free agency started about the 5th round. That's the reality. The NFL don't want to talk about it. Everybody wants to plug their ears to it. 5th round, and look, man, I got this kid. If he don't get picked up, you want to take him? The calls have already started. So people are hustling way before the draft ends. And then if your guy gets drafted, hey, look, man, somebody loved him. Sorry, he's gone. And the agent celebrates. The team's like, damn, I thought we had a good one. The reality is that if you're 5 minutes early, you're way late. If you haven't already established what teams like your player on the front end, and you're hunting and pecking and trying to figure it out as the draft ends, it's over. The movie is over. So a good example. I probably should I'll wait till I get this. I'll tell you this in a second. Free agent process. Let me stick to this script. So you bring a kid in. He goes from college to the pros. What happens? He doesn't get drafted. Doesn't go to camp. He's on the street. What happens to that kid? He becomes property of the pro director. Period. College guy, no longer involved. Stop calling him. Because he has nothing to say once the draft is over with. Not his property anymore. That guy gets passed on to the pro director. The pro director then decides, I'm going to highlight these 10, 15 guys per position that if we got an injury in camp, if something happened, if I had to call a guy, if I had to work out, there's an emergency list. If your guy's not on that emergency list, he ain't coming. I don't care. He ain't coming. He better be on that list. If he's not on that list, a lot of guys ask, is my guy on your emergency list? Don't like to tell, but yeah, he's on there. Where's he at? He ain't at the top. So what happens? That guy sits there. And if you're 8 or 9 on the emergency list, for some reason, I hate to say this, you really probably don't even exist. And the reason you don't exist is I'm never going to get to number 9 or 10 that's going to make it. Number 1 and 2, in some instances, are guys you hope that can make it through 2, 3, 4 weeks of practice, then you can cut him and then get another real guy. I hate to say it like that, but that's the reality. Some of these guys, they're just getting opportunities to come through and keep us whole until we can move them out and move on. Come in here, get these 5 reps, run a go route, don't mess it up. If he goes out, he runs his go route, come on back, stand over there, don't bother nobody, don't talk, you're all right. All you want to make sure you do is find guys that can play. Street free agents, I hate to say this, they come, they go. Very few guys just showed up out of nowhere, make a team, and progress on. They don't grow on trees like that. Probably in my 16 years in the National Football League, maybe 4 guys that I single-handedly had a part of. I don't know where he came from, I don't know how we dug him up, but he showed up, we liked him, we signed him, he actually made the 53 and then played valuable reps. 4 guys. It's not a lofty business that way. Like, you gotta find guys that are gonna make a team and contribute moving forward. And I hate to say this, the National Football League is getting away from development. I was talking earlier, we're not developing players. Your guy's not gonna have time to grow on the tree and hang around. He's not. The day he shows up, he better perform. If he doesn't perform, we're gonna turn the page. Let's try this kid. See if he's got something. Like, $90,000+ on practice squad, we'll rotate them like clockwork. Once a week, somebody's going just to prove a point. For no other reason than to say, okay, don't get comfortable because it's not for long. It's not. So you rotate a guy out, try the next guy. Can he play? You know what, I kind of like this kid. All right, let's keep him around. If the coach don't like him, ice is real thin. Personnel can hang around with him for a while, but if the coaches don't like him, at this point, I'm fighting a battle that doesn't work. Like you said, we bring in players all the time. You know what the coach wants? Hey, but what happened to the guy we had last year? All of a sudden, now the guy that they have some familiarity with, that's the guy we want to work with. The guy that they don't know, don't feel so good about. until your guy shows up and shows out. So again, if he's not going to get to the field and perform, stop wasting your time. Don't waste it. Move on to the next kid. Training camp. By the time training camp starts, even before training camp, very few teams operate with numbers without having a full roster. I like to actually go into camp 3, 4, 5 positions light. Because then if a guy gets hurt, I got to cut somebody to bring the next guy in. I just sign a guy and you roll him out and you keep going until the other guy gets healthy. But when you go to camp and your roster's full at 90, now the kid that I just signed that you wanted me to sign, he's the first guy out the door because I need to sign another guy because my tackle just sprained his ankle the first day of camp. So look at the numbers. And for everybody, if you don't know the numbers of an NFL team, start studying. And it's simple, 4 quarterbacks, 5 tight ends, 7 total running backs, 15 offensive linemen. You should know how many spots and where they are, and does your guy, does he fit into the equation? If you can't do the math, you're wasting time. You called me about offensive linemen, we got 16 on our roster. I'm not signing an offensive lineman. Know when you call that there's potential room at the end. You gotta have vacancy for a guy to get an opportunity. But when you get to training camp, a lot of teams take a variety of ways of looking at that group. They'll look at the 7th rounder different than they look at the priority free agent, different than they look at the low end, just league-wide free agent, and then the guy that some would call a reject, or do not fit for us. So that 7th rounder, the difference between that 7th rounder, if I'm being real, and that low-end free agent, it's not much. The grades that guy has in the system are probably very similar, but somebody liked this guy that's a 7th round pick. Whether the coach liked him, whether a scout was on the table for him, somebody stood up on the table. But the requisite skill sets, probably not that much different. So that's why there's a lot of guys that you guys end up signing, that you like, or that you saw, that got some buzz or some feel from an NFL team that you feel good about, that if somebody's not championing his cause from the other side of the coin, from the club, he's not going to make it. 7th round pick, he'll get to camp. He may have a handful of opportunities. That college free agent, he's got 2 shots. If he gets 2, 3, 5 balls thrown his way, he was lucky. And he better make all the plays. The first one he drops, I told you that kid couldn't play. That's the first thing you're going to hear. I told you he couldn't play. He said, look, he dropped that ball. Nobody drops that ball. And guess what? Our first rounder dropped it 3 times yesterday. Well, shut up. That's not what the point I'm making. That kid can't play. They turn the page really quickly. But that's the reality. If you're a free agent, you have to make it. You got to play now. So training camp. If you don't know the numbers, your guy's not going to get his opportunity. By the time we get to preseason, it is what it is. Things have already started to kind of galvanize themselves. They started to cement. Guy went through OTAs. Coach starts to like him. He's demonstrated he's smart. He's demonstrated he can make some plays in practice. Things are starting to kind of galvanize themselves as to who's a real guy to potentially make practice squad, who are the guys that you're probably going to cut, and the lists are already starting to form. We size them up every single day, and we draw a line. We're going to keep 6 wide receivers. If you're not at number 5 or 6, you are gone. 7, let's put a little action by him. We may keep him on practice squad. The other 5 guys, because you bring 12 to camp, gone. Now here's the interesting thing. A lot of teams struggle with, is 9 any different than 7? Is 9 any different than 6? There's a lot of these guys, everybody at NFL camp deserves to be there for the ball. The vast majority of guys that actually go to camp, I tell players this all the time. The worst guy at camp might have been the best guy on this college football team. There's a lot of talent in this league. I don't know how we're growing them on trees, but there's a bunch of kids that if you just had a little bit of time to work with him and kind of tinker him and get him where he's going, he might have a chance to play. The problem is you don't have the time to tinker with him. So there's a lot of guys that can do it. And some guys catch lightning in a bottle. I asked this question earlier outside. How many times was James Harrison cut before he made the Pittsburgh Steelers and stuff? Does anybody know the answer to that? Keep going up. Up. 11 times he met the waiver wire. I'm on. Oh, I'm back to practice squad. Oh, I'm up. Oh, no, I'm back to practice squad. He played that yo-yo game for a long time before he actually settled in, made the roster, stuck, and then demonstrated he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. Like, if your guy's not built for this, if he's not built for the league, you'll find out. Like you said, when you call him, and he's playing Xbox and gained 10 pounds, he's not in great shape. When he went to a workout and he wasn't in great shape, he didn't love it. I got a 12-year-old son. Right now, he better have gone downstairs and played basketball and did some running on the treadmill and got himself together. Because the worst thing is for they embarrass you. When people show up and they don't handle their end of the deal, then now I don't deal with you no more. Because you don't know if your player's even in shape. And here's the interesting thing. That kid may not live in your area. He may be 2,000 miles away. Hey man, you need to send me a YouTube video or something. Because it's your credibility that's on the line. You stand up for the kid, when the kid lets me down or lets the club down, it's a black mark on y'all. Like, he keeps sending me these guys that can't play. So you stop answering the call. Make sure that guy is in shape, ready to roll, because, like I said, you go through the preseason, I do it for every single team. I shouldn't say I do, I used to. The pro guy is going to do it for every single team where he goes through and he knows this guy's on the 53-man roster. We use 4 tags, 53. If he's on the 53-man roster, 75% chance he's on the 53-man roster. Bubble plus. And you know what, he might make it, he might not. For the way we do it, I don't want any more than 4 guys on that bubble plus. I don't want any more than 4 guys on the bubble. So I got 8 guys that are vying for those last 8 spots for any roster. And that's the reality. 53 men on the roster, 46 man active. Them last 8, give or take, flip up a coin. But them top 45, 46, they on the team. So I want 4, and I want 4. Everybody else is a long shot. LS. If that long shot's got a chance for us, then you change it, get the different tags. He's a claim. See, is that long shot better than our 53rd, 52nd, 51st? As you see, where does he fall? I want to know. That's all we focus on. Can this guy make us better? You constantly work through those numbers. You constantly work through those players. And as you work through those players, you start to find out, this guy really ain't that good. Is he a claim? Nah, this guy's more of a practice squad plus player. What's that mean? We got a practice squad spot, we want this kid. And then the next group, he's worth a workout. After the workout list, he's dead. Like, look, he had a shot in camp, showed up, college free agent, didn't make it. We didn't like him, we didn't think he would. Move on. Move on. And the only way he gets resurrected is if something new comes to light. Something new is more tape. Did he go play somewhere? Did he play in Canada? Did he play in the indoor league? Did he play somewhere else? Okay, interesting. It's interesting tape. Kid he got some grit to him. He's still playing. He wants it. All right. Signed a kid last year from Cleveland Gladiators named Brandon Stevens. I found Brandon Stevens at a youth basketball league game. That's where I ran into him at. Had a little brother playing basketball against my son. Interesting. Can I send you my tape? Sure. I got it right here on my phone. Cool. Watching it for him, okay. Send it to me. I call the guy from the Gladiators, I get the tape. Interesting kid. Guess what? Grinder, worker, worked out by himself, did 25 minutes, no help, wasn't breathing hard, wasn't sweating like he stole something. He was still put together at the end of the workout like, hey, guess what? Y'all want to go another 25? I got it. Signed him. Went to camp, didn't embarrass himself. Unfortunately, the kid pulled his hamstring. Can't make the club in the tub. Now, he's a great kid. I still see him to this day. But he knew he was on borrowed time because he was an older guy. But the reality of what I'm telling you is that you can dig him up. You can find him. You can find a kid that can play. Now, here's a kid I just happened to just walk past and meet. The reality is that he had everything it took to make it in the National Football League. He just didn't get the break of staying healthy while he was there. Coaches started to like him, learned 3 different positions. He was playing safety, playing nickel, playing outside on the corner, playing on special teams. Special teams coach liked him, pulls his hamstring. Dream's over. Right? It's hard. And this young man's asked me 5, 6 times, hey man, think there's another shot for me? And I'm like, it's only be 28, man. Like, clock's ticking. I know there's labor laws and you shouldn't talk about, well, this guy can, guess what? When that number starts getting close to 30, that page starts turning. That's the reality. So you got the 27-year-old rookie. It's hard. It's hard because guess what? As he develops in that first, second, third year, now he's 30 and he ain't got the free agency. He's 30. Guys run out of patience, they run out of time. You got a rookie and he's 24, 25, he's on the fence. I hate to say this, 23, 22, cool, we're sweet spot. 21, 20, great. As that guy gets closer to 24, 25, and he's never played in the National Football League, start thinking about something else. Insurance people hiring, and FedEx is looking for some good folks. Like, it's time to go on. It's time to go on. You can only chase the dream so long. You can only chase it so long. One of the things that Neil talked to me about too was jumpstarting a player's perception after the draft. It's impossible. It's impossible. You can't change what he put on tape for the last 4 years. Whoever he was, whatever he did in college, that's who he is. You can try to remake his image, you can try to get him a photo shoot, it don't matter. It does not matter. Because all I'm gonna do is look back up at that report, go back to the college tape, this is who this young man is. I asked a young man preparing for this draft, he's in this draft. He had all kinds of issues. I mean, all kinds of issues. So he buried his soul and told me all his problems, all the things he had done wrong. And I said, okay, here's my question for you. I'm gonna write you a check for $1 million. Would that be a smart thing to do? Absolutely. You can do this. I don't deny you're talented. My question is it a wise investment for me to give you $1 million? Yeah, I'm gonna make good on that. I said, so you've been straight now for 9 months, maybe a year. You got 20 years of bad history. Is that a good stock to buy? Yeah. I was like, okay, so let me change the subject because you're obviously not following the conversation. Here's your buddy over here. He hadn't gotten in a stitch of trouble. Done everything he's been asked to do. Done it the right way. Led by example. Been a captain on the team. And then there's you. 18 years of badness and 9 months of goodness. Did you really change or like, who's the real guy? Well, I'm the real guy. So, okay, you're never gonna get it. You still don't get it. The reality is that we're buying stock. Is your kid worth me investing in is the question I'm asking.
Excuse me for interjecting, but you had just mentioned that you do well with interjecting questions.
Yeah, that's fine, go ahead.
My question is, at what point do you mention a red flag that's been in a potential player's history?
Right up front. So I dealt with a lot of kids coming into this process. And I told them all the same thing. If there's a known issue about you, get the elephant out the room right when you walk in. Hey man, how's it going? Pleasure to meet you, Ray Farmer. You know, I killed 3 people on the way here. Get it over with. Don't sit there and sweat like they got the heat lamp on you. Like, oh God, they're going to get me. They're going to talk about the 3 people. They're going to talk about it. Get it over with. Because it's all risk assessment, right? So what I want to know is, can I trust you? If I can't trust you, you can't play. If a coach can't trust you, you won't play. So the whole process is about establishing rapport and trust. Can I trust this kid? So any process that I work through with a kid, it's all about, here's an interesting thing. The combine's starting, right? They're going through interviews. There's not a kid over there that they're not asking questions to that they don't know the answer to the question before they ask it. So if you got a player, that's a free nugget for everybody. They know. And then they ask you a question about it. The question is, can you be truthful about it? And then demonstrate what you learned in that process. Guess what? Yeah, I did that, man. I shouldn't have thrown that toilet paper at that old lady, but I did. And, you know, I thought I was young and being stupid and it was funny and at the time, and I shouldn't have done it, but, you know, I had to do them up downs and ran the stadium for 10 straight days and, you know, got a mom and elders who do things right. Like, learn to tell, your guys got to learn to fess up and to understand, I made these mistakes, here's how I've changed, and here's how I've demonstrated I'm gonna continue to get better. But if you tell me, okay, you smoke weed, okay. A lot of guys nowadays smoke weed. Not a criminal offense. It is in most states. All in most states. But in some states it's not. Okay, so you did what you did. The question is, when's the last time you smoked? I smoked last night. You ain't learned nothing. When's the last time you smoked? I smoked a month ago. You ain't learned nothing. So you telling me you almost missed the last 2 seasons because of smoking weed and then you smoked just a month ago. Like, you haven't learned anything. You haven't changed. And yeah, you've been clean for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 months. That's not time. It's not time. So if the window of change is short, it's hard to buy that product. So I would tell you that if your guy hasn't demonstrated over time that he's actually changed his ways, it's not going to mean much to me or the next guy, in my opinion. The reality, again, we going back to the story I was telling earlier, every guy that we're looking for, he has to build trust. He has to be able to demonstrate those pieces of the puzzle for how he's changed, how he's going to be different, and then how he's going to demonstrate and represent the club in the right way. Clubs don't want surprises. Let's not be fooled. The NFL is not made up of a group of choir boys. Everybody's not running through here, going to the soup kitchen on Monday, feeding the homeless on, that's not how it operates. But I need to know that you're going to be a good enough citizen, keyword being enough, to not embarrass and make a problem for the club the rest of the way. Now, what I would tell you is that everybody wants to know about different people and, well, how did this guy get a shot? How come that guy get a chance to play? Ability. That's it. If your guy was the man and he made plays and he helped his team achieve XYZ goal, he gets a shot. There's a young man in last year's draft. He came and bore his soul at the combine. Literally just came in the door, was like, look, I had this problem, I had this other problem, and just took all his clothes off right there and was like, you know what, here's who I am. I've done all these things wrong, but I love football more than I love all that stuff. And he demonstrated it by showing that even though he had this problem was during the offseason. This problem was over here. Football season, guess what? Halfway model citizen. Notice I said halfway, so he wasn't perfect, but ball meant more to him than anything else. Now, he may mess it up come June, July, and when there ain't no ball, but from August when he went to camp until the season ended, it was all ball all the time. Got drafted, go play, ain't heard nothing about it. Now, off season just got started, so I'm waiting. I'm watching Twitter carefully now. But from August until that season ended, he was a model citizen. He ain't getting no trouble. But he admitted himself, free time's not my friend. Free time is not my friend. So realize who you represent and how they're going to then represent you moving forward. What's the best way for an agent to develop a relationship with a scout? They're all organic. Everybody in this room has a different set of people skills. So I am a talker. I don't mind talking. It's easy. It's kind of who I am. But I kind of hung out, and I kind of tried to appear to be standoffish. I wasn't doing anything. I was fooling with my phone, playing chess or dominoes, whatever I was doing. But I wanted to see who was going to talk to me. So then I got up, moved outside, and I stood, and I waited. It is what it is. But if you really want to get how to know people, get your people skills up. Don't be afraid. Like, engage people. Worst thing you happen is they're like, hey man, look, I'm busy. Oh, my bad. Get with you next time. Appreciate it though. Like, as you engage people, there's a fine line between being engaging and annoying. There really is. And it's a really thin line. And there's guys that I like, and I'm like, man, this dude is a pain in my behind. And every time I see him, I start laughing. Because I know he's going to come up and speak to me. Hey, dog, what's up, man? How are you? What you got? Who you got? Man, I got this guy, man. I got this guy. I love it. Be engaging. Be engaging. That's the only way to make relationships with scouts. And the next piece of the puzzle, have information they want. Know the players. Know those guys. Know the guys. And look, it is what it is. Like, they're going to find out. But if you've done the homework and you know the guys and you know what's going on, sharing a tidbit of information will win you a lot of friends. You ain't gotta tell all the dirt, but a nugget here and there for a scout, they'll come back to you, I promise. They will circle back. Hey man, can I get your number? Then they'll start giving out their number. Like, if you can drop just a hint of what's going on and the realities behind the player, you know, that goes a long way. Because what they're going to be asked to do, they're going to be charged with, can you divulge a secret? Can you help me not get blindsided about who this kid is that we may draft or we may bring into our camp? And if you can add any information to that, it helps the case. So, you want to get to know scouts? Tidbit of information, be a good guy, be a good lady, just be personable. Good personality goes a long way. You know, having worked for a number of LFL teams, this is actually an interesting question. He asked the question of what's the best way to enhance a player's chance of getting signed? There is no way. It's all about what that kid did on tape. Here's the interesting thing. I mean, I played college ball. I got drafted. I had an agent. Got recruited by a lot of different agents. Flew all over the place. Took my mom and dad to several of them. Like, what I don't understand, and I still don't understand it, how do you build a relationship with a kid that you barely know? How do you do it? I signed with a guy who was the brother of a kid that went to Duke with me. Your brother's an agent? Cool. Come town. Now, I done took private flights and met with people, and I mean, they got like big old war rooms, and they got names on the board, and they got jerseys and people they've represented, and this is great. Y'all got a lot of money. This is what y'all gonna do. Y'all got a financial planner too. He'll get you great. We got it. Get you everything you need. Got it. I don't know you. I don't know you. How do I get to know you? I'm amazed. Like, cause you guys will sign kids and they'll believe in you. They will believe that you're gonna get them a job. And the moment they don't get signed, you're fired. You're out. Because it's your fault. Because I didn't play good enough. Like, I don't get it. Like, you don't, like, know your kids. Like, if you know them, then you know. You know when they don't do it right. You know when they're telling you a lie. You know when they're not working hard. You know when they're going to show up and embarrass you to work out. Know them.